cereal. The first time in years. I just can't remember when I did. And it was sort of nice. But it wasn't Wheaties, Wheaties, the cereal for Jack Armstrong and his All-American Boys. It wasn't that one. What I had was Amaranth. I bought it the other day. You saw me in the package that I got. It's very, very small little grains. A little bit bigger than teff, but still small. But it has something in common with teff and quinoa. They're both complete proteins. But remember, it's still a carbohydrate in there. It's a mix, but it has complete protein in it. And I thought in the book that we got, Super Grains, nuts and seeds and pulses and all of that, and lentils and beans, it gives the benefits. And amaranth is an unusual little grain because it has a good amount of vitamin C in it, which usually doesn't happen in grains. And it's good for your heart, okay, and your eyesight. And also says it's good for people that are interested in losing weight. When we lived on the little country farm, we grew a type of amaranth, and it was called, the species we had was, I think it was the Prince's Feather, or another name was, I think, Love Lies Bleeding, but ours was red, had a big feathery blossom, and I had the idea I was going to collect the seeds, but I found out anyway, it didn't work for me. But what we did do with it, we sold it to florist shops and they put it in bouquets, although it didn't really hold up very long. But then I dried some and put them in wreaths, and they were quite pretty. So, and once you get it, it's like a weed. I had it I grew it in a row and along in a border, and then the next year it was in my garden, my kitchen garden, and the year after that it was in my the garden that was a little further out, and then the next year it was way out into the pasture. And even we moved once after that, and it went with us. I couldn't believe it. So once you get it started, it goes on and on. But a good little grain, and that's what I cooked, and I want to show you what I did because I'm going to make some more. I'm not going to have it tomorrow morning, but I will have it the morning after. I took a half a cup, and this is my half-cup measure. I put it in my kettle. It's 1 to 3, so I put my water in, which was 1.5, which means 1 to 3, and I just let it soak overnight. But it said it could soak 2 days, and that's what I'm going to do. If you don't soak it, the cooking time, I believe, is about 25 minutes. If you soak it, it cuts the cooking time by about half. And what we did with ours this morning, I also cooked cinnamon in it, and I grated up an apple, and then in my bowl I put some walnuts and blueberries. I put a little honey and some butter, and that was it. I didn't have the typical milk on mine. Tom did some other things with his, and then because I was a little worried whether it was enough protein, I think I had a slice of cheese. We were out of eggs, so I would have had an egg. And remember, the cheese again has a certain amount of carbos mixed in with the cheese, but it is protein too. And that's what I was worried about, getting enough protein with this. And then I checked my blood, and it turned out good. So it was just a very successful, nice breakfast. Now, on the taste, you'll find out that when you soak it or get into it, it has a different sort of smell. That the smell repels my daughter. She doesn't like to cook it. Even though when you cook it, the smell leaves. You don't smell that. In fact, I don't smell it right now, but eventually I think I will. And then, but it leaves. The smell leaves, so there was no of this sort of grassy green smell in your cereal. And then it's really fine. I found it sort of pleasant, and it's just different, but it was worth it. And so I plan to do it again. I think it's a good grain, and you have to be really careful with it. I used to buy it at a certain place in Idaho, and when we lived there, and I had trouble getting good because I would buy it. It was from a good company. I'd buy it and I'd smell it, and it would smell moldy. I complained once. They sent me a new batch. It smelled moldy. And so you want to be careful. This does not smell moldy, but it does have that earthy sort of smell to it. So there you have it, and look into it. It might be just what you need. So I'm going to let you go. Enjoy your day, and thanks for coming. It's so nice to have you.